Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. So, after finishing episode 4 of Violet Evergarden, I have been told that I need to watch the OVA special. And even though this was recorded and released after the season of Violet Evergarden was over, the events of it take place between episodes 4 and episodes 5. So I've checked online. I was like, what's the watch order, just to be sure? And they said that after episode 4, watch the OVA and then watch episodes 5 through 13. So, cool. I'm all set for it. Last episode, we got to see Violet follow Iris back to her hometown. There was Iris's backstory with her family wanting her to settle down, the unrequited love with Eamon, and then Iris kind of coming to terms with her goal of being an auto memory doll and using the irises to kind of remind Violet of her own nomenclature and how it came about, obviously because of Gilbert. So, some good stuff in the last episode, but I'm excited because this OVA is a little bit longer than usual. It's 35 minutes, it's a little bit longer. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen, but I'm pretty excited for it either way. So, as per usual, this show has been gorgeous to watch, and I like that we're subtly, slowly but surely getting Violet to kind of come out of her shell. So that's exciting. But let's do this, y'all. Let us dive into the OVA. I hope y'all enjoy the reaction. Please feel free to comment down below. Please, no spoilers. But let's do this. Let's start this reaction to the Violet Evergarden OVA, and we are going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was so sweet. I wish my dogs hadn't barked during the touching moments. I was like, why'd you pick now to bark? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Oh, they've been quiet this whole time, and then suddenly, you know. No, that was really, really sweet. That was, I like that Kiwani, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Kiwani just goes completely hardcore with whatever they decide to do. They're like, oh, we're going to tell this sweet, simple story about Violet helping this woman to overcome the loss that she's had. And it's going to be this really short, sweet, simple little story, but we're going to make it look the most gorgeous possible. It's like, I don't know if y'all noticed, but there was probably like 10 water shots. There was a fountain, there was like a lake, a pond, a river. There were like every possible thing of water we're going to. But what I loved about Emma's story is she kind of has the same dilemma that Violet has, in that there's someone that she loves and someone that Violet loves, and they're not there anymore. So what do you do? How do you express that? And this is the most expressive we've seen Violet be in her letter writing, like the most expressive. And granted, she read through all those letters from the people about their own experiences. And I love that. I am a big fan of old classic nostalgic letter writing. My grandfather was in World War II, and something that I really love is that he was a big romantic. My grandfather was. And so he wrote letters back and forth to my grandmother, and she saved all of them. And so that was so sweet seeing them. And it's such a weird thing because it was World War II, so it was the 1940s. And it was back when there were no cell phones, there was no internet. There was literally, you wrote a letter and maybe a week later you got one in return. And so there was this constant distance between them, and it was like a palpable distance. Like you couldn't just drive to their house. It was, he was across the seas. And so there's something so romantic about the idea of letter writing, and I feel like this OVA kind of illustrated that to a T, the romanticism of it all, but also kind of the heartbreak, because like Roland shows her in that big warehouse, there's all these letters that were never sent, and all these letters that those people never got, so they never got to hear those words and feel those emotions from the people that they care about. And so it's so sad. And I wondered for a second if Violet was going to put 2 and 2 together, that maybe Gilbert wasn't receiving her letters. And that would have been really tragic too. But I love that we got this self-contained little story, but it also demonstrates how much Violet has grown over the course of this series, because she's really become someone that's trying to follow. She's not just blindly taking an order and just seeing it through in the most militaristic way possible. She's figured out that, oh no, I need to follow these people around. I need to see what all they're doing and kind of learn from them and see how they express emotion and take that with me to help me improve as a writer. And the part where she connects with Emma about Hugo and Gilbert, it was like, okay, show, you keep teasing us with that final scene where I feel like we get a little tiny piece more every time we go back to that scene. Like we saw him mouth the words to her, but we didn't hear him say it. We've heard it from two different angles. We've had him mouth the words silently, and we've had her hearing the words, but we've not had him saying them and us seeing him say it. So it's like, show. And she says that she lost Gilbert amidst the battle, but I'm like, did you leave him behind, or did you take him to someone to get healed and then you never saw him again, or did he die? I feel like she wouldn't lie, so I don't know what the whole circumstance is. I keep waiting for us to get more on Gilbert and her, and I know we're only 4 episodes in, so we probably will, but and I love Hodgins getting all emotional at the end there when he hears the song lyrics and he's like, oh, Violet, you actually came up with this? And I like in the letter writing thing that Benedict thinks he's such a romantic. Benedict's like, well, I'm actually a poet. And Katlia and them are like, not necessarily. But I like that they all try to pitch in, and then they're like, we're not poets. This isn't what we signed up for. And that's really not what the auto memory doll signs up for. They interpret the words of others. They don't have to come up with the words themselves. So that was interesting. I'm curious why we had this OVA in between episodes 4 and 5, but I guess I'm gonna have to watch episode 5 to figure that out, right? Sure, that's how it's gonna go down. But I really, really think this was a neat story there, and the twist that it's the dad of Hugo. That I thought at first it was Emma's father, or I was like, does he like her caretaker or just her boss? But no, it's her would-be father-in-law. And I kept thinking for a second like he was going to come back at the end, but it didn't happen, and I hate that. But that was really, really sweet. I'm trying to think of what else to comment about it, because I felt like in the reaction I said most of what I wanted to say about it. I love that the instructor is the one that hired Violet for the job. I'm like, girl, on the one hand, that's really sweet that she had faith in Violet, but I'm like, you saw Violet write a 2-line letter and you thought she was going to be capable of this? That's a lot of faith to put in our girl. I mean, good on you, but that's a lot of blind faith there to put on her to make sure it's going to go all right. But this was just really, really sweet. And it was a nice break from the plot to kind of get this self-contained story out there, and to see Violet grow as a character, like her reading all the books. I also like that we're getting more subtle hints of Violet gaining humanity back. Like in the last episode, in episode 4, we had her like make that joke with Iris, and Iris was like, what? And she's like, it's a joke. And it's like, well, you can make jokes now? And in this OVA, Violet is trying to do all the research and research the love stories, and Ilya keeps saying, oh no, it's not modern enough, it's too old-fashioned. And I love when Violet just sticks herself in the corner, and she's like so frustrated, she just puts herself in the corner like she can't think what to do. And even the others at the auto memory doll at Hodgins' business are like, what are you doing? Like, it seems like so out of character for Violet, but she's slowly gaining those bits of humanity back. And I also like the tie-in to the modern theater aspect. Like I've said in other reactions, I teach English, and so part of what we teach is drama, and there's different phases of it. And if you're thinking of this world as being kind of a parallel to ours from that time period, that would have been right around the time, late 1800s, early 1900s, when modern theater was starting to come into play. And a big shift in that, and a big focus in modern theater, was that up until like around World War I, World War II era, at least in Western society, most of the plays had been Shakespeare or ancient Greek, kind of like the opera that Ilma is singing at the very beginning. And even Violet says, oh, the lyrics are antiquated. Like, what are you singing about? I don't understand. And if you've ever been to the opera, I've been to an opera before. I went and saw Don Giovanni, and I had no clue what they were singing about. I don't know Latin. I have no clue what they were singing about. So I was like, yeah, you don't know what the lyrics mean because the language is outdated. And so modern theater, around the time that modern theater was conceptualized, it was because people during that day and age, there was war, there was the Depression, people were poor, they didn't want to go to a theater and watch a play about, one, rich people that they couldn't relate to, but about old-fashioned themes and ideals that didn't reflect their modern day and their own struggles. They wanted to see characters they could relate to. And so when Emma is trying to say that she wants to create this modernized era and this modern play, it's like, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. The playwrights were like, no, we're going to write characters that audiences can relate to, and we're going to write about scenarios that strike a chord with the modern audience. And that's pretty much what's happening here. She wants to write a song that is going to relate to people that have missed people from war, that are still searching for people, that have lost lovers and loved ones. And so that's really cool. I like the tie-in to the more modern, realistic aspects of post-war and everything that this talks about. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, so good stuff. Good stuff. I really like this OVA. It was nice to take a little bit of a break from the plot and do this, but I'm going to be honest, if anything, this has made me, now that we've got those little subtle hints of Gilbert, and now that we've got little hints that Violet's gaining some more humanity back and some more personality and some more like edge to herself, I'm like, I want to see that expanded further. And I really hope that episode 5 does that. I was waiting for my dogs to freak out. I was like, they haven't for a while. But, oh my gosh, y'all. This was really good. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below, what you all thought of the OVA, but this was pretty awesome. And so next week, we'll get back to business, back to our regularly scheduled program, and look at episode 5 of Violet Evergarden. But in the meantime, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. I hope you enjoyed this reaction. Please let me know what you thought of the episode. Please no spoilers. But as always, please take care and stay safe. And I'll be back next week with more Violet Evergarden. Bye.